Yo, what's up guys, Insane Game Freak here to bring you a nostalgia rush. And this for me personally, was one of the most underrated shows in Nickelodeon, period. I think it was this and Invader Zim, even though I'm going to get a lot of hate for this. I don't care for Invader Zim. Then again, I haven't really given Invader Zim a chance, but personally I didn't care for it when it first came on. And for this show, there's always those shows that are geared towards certain genders that you're like, oh, this is totally for like girls, or this is totally for boys. This was the show that seemed like it was totally for girls, kind of how Pop-Up Girls is, but you still got into it anyway. Well, at least I did. I don't know how big the fan base is for it, but what we're talking about today is my life as a teenage robot. Let's go! Okay, so my life as a teenage robot is pretty much an old Nickelodeon show that I think came out. It's not that old. I think it's like it came out in the early 2000s. Like it wasn't even a 90s show. It was like an early 2000s show. Because I know it's older than Danny Phantom. I know Danny Phantom came out in 07, so I think this is about 04, 03, somewhere around there. Anyways, the whole point of this show is that you have this, I guess you would say you have this robot superhero named Jenny. XJ9 is like her robot name. And the whole thing is that she is saving the world on a daily basis. I mean, that was her whole point of her creation by her mom, Dr. Wakeman. Her whole thing is just to save the world. The difference is that because you made a teenage robot, and they even play upon that joke later on, she doesn't just want to save the world. She wants to go out and shop. She's essentially what would happen if you made a robot teenage superhero. That's what she is. And I like they took all three jokes and they ran with all three of them. Because in the series she has robot-human relation issues, which is the majority of her jokes. Her 16-year-old problems, and then like her superhero problems. I mean, that's the whole premise of the show. And ironically, when the show first starts, you don't even get introduced to Jenny right off the bat, but you get introduced to her these two human characters named Brad and Tuck. Brad is the older brother, Tuck is his younger brother. What ends up happening is that through playing catch, they accidentally throw the ball into Mrs. Wakeman's house window, and when Tuck goes to get it, he runs into like the creepy shadow figure that he doesn't realize, but is actually XJ9. And through a whole bunch of random mishaps and everything, because Miss Wakeman at the beginning of the series is like, Jenny, I don't want you going out and fraternizing with humans. You just wait until the alarm goes off and you need to save the world, and then you do that. You know, that's all you need to fucking do. Brad and Tuck end up befriending her, and they end up becoming friends, and through the friendship, Mrs. Wakeman like, all right, fine. You can fraternize with people. You can hang out with other people. So really, the whole point of the show is just going back and forth between just random issues. And then, I think in later episodes, she actually starts going to school. And people don't understand why I like this show so much. For one, I think I really like Jenny. I think Jenny was actually pretty funny, cute, hilarious. I don't know why, I just like I didn't even care about the premise. I just liked how ridiculous some of the episodes are. And I like how they played upon every aspect of being a teenager and being a robot and being a superhero. Because they even have Jenny have like an arch nemesis, which is the Cluster, led by Vexus, I believe is her name. And that shit was pretty interesting because it's that whole concept of robots being better than humans. That whole robot superiority thing. And you have a robot that's fighting for the sake of humans. Even though there are a lot of episodes where humans just fucking treat her like shit. And it's not even because she's a bad person. It's just because she's very awkward and she sucks at... Like, I kind of relate to Jenny because Jenny goes through that whole concept of being very awkward when she first meets people. And she's very enthusiastic. And she's very weird about it. Like, I mean, when she first... like the first few episodes when she's actually going to high school, people think she's just like at the bottom of the barrel, which is just like damn. I also like how they played upon. There are like episodes that are themed around certain aspects of being a teenager. Like for example, they actually have like the body parts series of episodes is what I like to call them, which are essentially episodes that are based around different parts of the body that would pertain to a 16-year-old. For example, there's an episode dedicated to her eyes where Miss Waitman does like an upgrade for Jenny so her eyes can do like a whole bunch of epic shit. But the problem is that the eyes are bug eyes, so she looks like a fucking disturbing ass bug with them. And they're going through this, I don't look cool with these eyes, I look like a dork, you know, it's that whole teenage mixed with robot epicness. And then, but the thing is, she needs the eyes and their different views of vision in order to stop this monster that she can't see normally, which I like that. I like how there was a lot of mother and daughter bonding. There's another one with ears where Ginny doesn't technically need ears because she can hear things through it was like, I forget the term, but it was like she didn't need ears. Well, she wanted ears so she could rock earrings. You know, I think almost every teenage girl goes through that. I know that because I have a younger sister who reminds me every day that I don't know shit about women. So I like those episodes. I think there were episodes based around fashion. There were episodes based around puberty. Oh my god, the puberty episode was straight out ridiculous. And it's not even puberty. She's literally malfunctioning through the episode, but they call it puberty because I like how they mixed in the concept of puberty with robots. What essentially happens is that after she fights Vexus, one of her little tiny cluster drones that she gets inside Jenny's body, and throughout the episode, the drone is like fucking with her body. Like the drone is just like pulling wires and pushing levers and shit. But the effects it's having on Jenny comes off his puberty. Like for example, she grows armpit hair, but it's not technically armpit hair. What it is it's her wires are coming out of her arm sockets, which is hilarious. There's even a certain point where like Brad is explaining the concept of puberty. Like, well, you see Will here turns into older William, and he becomes a football player, and then it's like, well, little Sally turns into, whoa, big Sally. And the reason why I bring that up is because there's a point where the robot starts messing with other shit, so like, it clicks, like he hits something and clicks and makes a voice drop, like, puberty would. And then on top of that, now they don't explain everything, but certain points is like her arms broaden out and like the chest plate grows out, and so you see Brad go, whoa, and Jenny's like, oh, I gotta go. And Brad's like, what's your hurry, Sally? Oh, I mean, Jenny. I thought that had me rolling like a motherfucker. There's another character I haven't mentioned. I actually just forgot his name. Sheldon. There we go. Sheldon is essentially what I like to call it's not BCI. He's like the weird otaku type in this series, in the sense that he's the only character who wants to fuck Jenny, which doesn't make any sense considering you're in love with a robot. It's just like, what? I actually even like Sheldon's introduction episode where it's like he's this nerd that randomly helps Jenny once, and Jenny helps him from being bullied, and it becomes like this awkward relationship where like Jenny doesn't want to be like the one person that Jenny doesn't want to be bothered with, and it's just like, leave me alone. I mean, that actually becomes like a thing throughout the seasons. Like there's a character that's introduced called the Silver Shell, which I'm not going to spoil it, but it's essentially a really funny, ridiculous play off of the Superman joke. Except it's like the weird contradictory Superman, where he's a character that isn't necessarily strong because Sheldon can't build a super strong mega fighting robot, but he no, I'm gonna leave it because it's straight out hilarious. It's straight out hilarious what happens. But I even like some of the specials, like when Jenny ends up going to Cluster Planet and realizing it's not a bad place, it's just that it's ruled by a shitty leader. I love that. I like meeting Vexus's yeah, I'm not gonna go into that either. That's spoiler territory. I think that was the first movie, and then you had the Christmas movie, which was straight ridiculous, where it's like, oh wow, it's been a year and you fucked up everything, Jenny. It's like, what happened? Like, I don't know, because the earlier seasons really focused on the whole Jenny trying to fit in with humans, and not her just learning that Jenny needs to be Jenny. I mean, they even did the creepy. It's not really I guess you could call it a Jekyll and Hyde situation where she wanted to look human, so she had her mom create this cybernetic skin that would fit over her like robot body and make her appear like a human girl. And the whole bad joke with it is that like she puts it on and she is so easily accepted mind you, the other creepy thing I thought about that is that she looks like the Wendy's girl, but that's a different story. She actually looks like a 1950s girl. That's what I thought was ridiculous. But the other thing that I thought was really funny about that is like throughout the episode, it's like the back of her neck. You see this creepy mouth going, normal little girls do this. Normal little girls don't fight evil biker gangs that are beating up niggas at the fucking, that are beating up the niggas at the damn restaurant. You know, normal girls sit quietly and let the men handle it. Normal girls do this. Normal girls do that. And I liked it because it's something that is inspirational to women, because at the end of it, Jenny's like, well, I am not a normal girl. And she like, and the thing is that short circuits it, she has to like, get it wet. So what she ends up doing, she takes like a bowl of ice cream and pours it on her head, and she becomes like, she looks like Jenny again. I like that because it was like, being normal is one thing, but being yourself is a bigger thing. And I like that. It worked out to what it was, and I thought that was a really good message. In terms of the relationship with certain character, her relationship with Tuck is the youngest of the characters. He's Brad's younger brother. It's more of like, he thinks of Jenny as like this superhero. Like, it's kind of like how little kids view Superman when they first see him. That's how it is. He's like, oh my god, Jenny, you're so cool. I thought like he's like that. Brad is very weird. I still can't really peg what Brad's personality is. He seems to be like that middle man. He's not necessarily the straight man. He's like the straight stupid man. That's the best way to put him. And I don't know. I just like the episodes that are focused around her. Dealing with human personality traits. Like, for example, there are later episodes where, well, actually some of the early episodes where she finds out that there were, obviously she's XJ9, so it's like, where's XJ 1 through 8? And she finds those, like, oh, those are my sisters and all this other shit. I thought that was nice, even though those characters don't really, nah, spoiler, not gonna tell you. The other one I like was the nerve ending episode, which I still find hilarious. I find the nerve ending episode hilarious, and the fucking the daydreaming episode hilarious. The nerve ending episode is essentially Brad and Tuck having a tickle fight. Jenny can't relate because she can't feel anything. So what she does is that she asks his Wakeman, she's like, Mom, can you build me some nerve endings? And she's like, well, I did have some prototype ones, but the problem with those is that you didn't really fucking need them. Like, why the hell does a crime-fighting robot need fucking nerve endings? And the also thing is that they're very simple. Like, they only have 2 settings. What was it? Tickle and pain. So, like, the first half of the episode, she's like, Brad, poke my shoulder. Pulls the shoulder after she goes and sneaks and puts on the nerve endings. And it's like this ridiculous shit where she's just, like, laughing uncontrollably. It's a mixture of cute to creepy, and it's like, oh my god. And then the pain shit was hilarious because they did the obvious fly joke. She had to take a test, and like every time the fly would land on her, it would hurt like hell. So it's like this joke where she's like, what am I going to do? Alright, let's censor myself and just get through the test. And then the fly flew the fly flew on like the table, and she hit the table and just spazzed out and failed the test. It was retarded. The daydreaming episode is around the same things where it was more of like her mom put it in her because she brought it up. Because she was like, I wonder what robots dream about. So she brought it in there as kind of an experiment. The thing is that she kept forcing the dream machine on in her brain, and it got stuck onto her because it got stuck on like on mode even during the day because of a freak accident. And there's like this just random sequence where she's like, and it's a Dr. Seuss parody of all things. It looks totally like a Dr. Seuss world when she's in her daydream mode. And it's like, the whole joke is that she's like daydreaming. It's like an excessive daydreaming that looks like Dr. Seuss world, and she's attacking things that she thinks are real and they're not. Like, she's punching a mailbox as if it's a monster. It's retarded. Oh my god, it was straight out hilarious. I don't know why. I like the show. It was, as I say, it's underrated as hell. I think it's underrated mainly because the episodes are so sporadic. I think it like took a break for like 2 or 3 years and then came back. And I didn't even because I think it has like 4 seasons, and I didn't know it had 4 seasons. I thought I had only really seen fully 3 of those 4 seasons, because I think the 4th season has like a major gap in between the 3rd and 4th season, because Nickelodeon does that whole thing where it like repeats shows and doesn't fucking tell you when it ends and when it begins. So it's like, what the fuck? which is kind of how I got into the other shows like Rocco Modern Life, because they kept repeating the show and you never really knew if it ended. I mean, that was the whole Angry Beavers controversy where it was like, oh, we have an ending episode, but Nickelodeon's not gonna let us air it because that would mean the show would end. I'm like, why can't you just show reruns with the ending? I don't know why the ending had to be cut. If you go online, I think you can actually find voice clips of the ending for Angry Beavers, but that's me getting off topic. But overall, I thought it was a good mix of superhero stuff, and I didn't really talk about the superhero stuff. There are later I know in the later seasons that she runs into like this group of superhero teenagers that she kind of feels more like it becomes less of her being not comfortable as a robot and more her not being comfortable as a superhero. And I like how it kind of switches in between those things. It's like it goes from like teenager to like human to like superhero. Like those are her three gimmicks. It's like you're a robot, teenage, superhero, and you're dealing with things from all three universes. A lot of the first season was based around the robot gimmick. I think the second season was more based around the superhero stuff, and then it kind of melded out, and then the 16-year-old shit was sprinkled on in between all of that, because 16-year-old girls are just difficult as hell. In terms of the fights, I thought the fights were good. I never really watched it for the fights though. I mean, you want to talk about a show I watched for the fights, it's Danny Phantom. And yes, for those who want to know, we're getting to Danny Phantom soon. I actually might make it like the one after the next one, because I fucking love Danny Phantom. I think Danny Phantom was like one of the last good Nickelodeon shows. And I actually think I watched all the seasons of it, because I know about the developments in his powers in the movies. I thought Danny Phantom was slick as shit. That's me fanboying over that. Overall, if you've never seen My Life as a Teenage Robot, you probably would have to look at it on YouTube videos, because My Life as a Teenage Robot, just because of how underrated it is, I don't think it has a DVD release, so it's kind of like, fuck me. The next show we're actually going to fuck with, though, is another Nickelodeon classic. And when I say Nickelodeon classic, it's one of those, like, you cannot say you watch Nickelodeon and not know what this show is. That's how important this show is. It's one of the most popular Nickelodeon shows, period. It's actually one of the most popular children's shows. And to give you a hint, it has 3 movies, 2 of which are good. The third one's kind of meh. And the first and second movie focus on the two main characters, on like the main character and the secondary main character. And I'll put it this way: the second movie focuses on my favorite character in the series and his issues with his mother. Hint, hint. If you don't know what I'm talking about, there's only one Nickelodeon show that has that. So, yeah. Dun, 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 dun. That's all I'm gonna give you. If you can't guess it at that point, it's ridiculous. But anyways, that's pretty much been this for this Nostalgia Rush. As I said, leave suggestions for future Nostalgia Rushes in the comment section below. Look forward to the next one that comes. You should be able to guess what all those hints I gave you. And I would say check out My Life as a Teenage Robot. That was a good show. I enjoyed the fuck out of that show. It's still probably one of my favorite underrated shows. It's probably one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows, period. Yeah. So, loves the game, play to win, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.